Alright, hello everyone, this is Crazy aka Why Must I Sign In, and this is another 6 for 6 in-house match on the North American server in Star Battle X. Um, just before I call it the ships, or no, I'll call it the ships and then I'll do a little discussion. We have CXS going range rocket on a frigate, Dirty going 5 int carrier, Isle of Pie going imp, Raven, Tiber going 111 guardian, Kent going let's just double check the speed here. Yeah, Tiber went 1 speed, 111. Kent went 2 speed, range, Spore. Loco on 1-2 tentacles with a force mutation. And then from the blue team, we have OG Kush going frigate with range rocket. Black Magic going range brutaling strike. LSD going, let's see here, yeah, Black Magic went 2 speed, and then Brutaling. And then LSD went 1 speed with 5 spores. Odessa went 2 Colossus with, I guess, 2 speed? I don't know. No, he went a range. Alright. Pronexus went Imp. And Curtis went 5. And so this is a 2 Guardian carrier frigate composition versus a 2 carrier Guardian. 2 Guardian carrier frigate composition. We have the difference, and Raven as well. So the only ship that is different in this composition is the Leviathan versus the Colossus. So before the game, there was a little confirmation that right now the Guardian has undergone some big changes in the last few patches. And so right now, as it develops into the mid-game, it's very strong. Obviously, in the very early game, it still can be a little tricky, but you notice that, it does have 10 range on LSD, and for Black Magic, 11 range in the opening of the game. And so even CXS's range rocket frigate is only at 10 range. So the Guardian got a range buff, making it stronger in the early game. And in the transition to mid-game, the Scourges got an HP buff. And another very, very big change is that the Darkswarm got life regeneration as an added effect. So Guardian has gone through some big changes and is very strong right now, which is why we're seeing double Guardian versus double Guardian. Of course, what is Guardian's big threat as the game gets late? Carrier. And so we're seeing Carrier again. Frigate Raven is just pretty regular regardless of what you're playing. And the big question becomes Colossus versus Leviathan. And so it's a very even game so far. And so we're getting to see these big changes in action. They may be patched one way or the other. They're probably going to get further tuned as we get a little closer to the tournament. Although we are now just a week out from the tournament, so if there's going to be any more patches before the tournament, I'm thinking, or at least hoping, we're gonna see them new soon, so that people have a chance to play some games and get used to them before the tournament begins. Red team now going back. They're really only up about 80 farm after their temporary contain there. The game is moving very fast. We're still at 5 minutes in, and the blue team is now going to come out and try to get a contain on the red team. But since the compositions are so similar, it's obviously going to be very tricky to hold a contain one way or the other. Usually big contains are due to dramatic differences in composition. Here we have these Scourges, and you can see they really get in there on that Raven. It's very hard, even with Loco's 6 tentacles, to really get them down before they manage to connect. So Scourge is a lot more viable than it used to be. But will that be enough to really change gameplay altogether? Yeah, we're seeing lots of Scourges, not so much the immediate rush into Broodlords. And we also have LSD with the Darkswarm. So you can see, oh wow, 160 health regeneration each second while the Guardian is inside the Darkswarm. See, but the important thing to note here, it grants its caster 160 health regeneration each 1 second. Whereas all friendly units get the buff that they cannot be targeted by ranged attacks beyond range 4, and it lasts 20 seconds. So it's 20 seconds of 160 health a second health regeneration. Oh my goodness! 2-1! Tiber goes down to the Drift Torp. Wow. Sorry, you're looking at the tooltip for the spell, and I'm missing these. Almost missed this beautiful Drift Torp from OG Kush. Tiber dies to bleeding because he just had a little bit of life left, but the red team is now gonna try to get a kill here. But yep, this is why you run the frigate in pretty much any composition, because early game Drift Torp is still very, very strong. So will this be enough in and of itself to solidify things for the blue team? Maybe, maybe not, but it's certainly a very big advantage since it is one of those 2 Guardians that they just picked off. It's going to make a lot more work for Kent. Tiber has been eating a lot of Drift Torps today. Not really his day. Of course, it's really hard to dodge a Drift Torp anyway as a Guardian. Guardians move slowly, and so they are particularly susceptible to Drift Torp. Early game, they're susceptible to Drift Torp. Late game, they're susceptible to carriers. That's why even with all these buffs, they're still gonna die sometimes. And here comes the Vortex on Curtis in the dark, but he misses the guard. That is a wasted Vortex. Will that be enough that they're not going to be able to get a kill here, or that things could go awry? I don't know. This is going to get hairy. This is going to get very close. They're getting in on Loco. OG Kush does not have Torp up, but Black Magic does have Scourges. Let's see, what is he focusing on? Oh, Loco's still at 8,000 life, Kent at 8,000 life. I Love Pi is getting some matrixes up, but he is now low on energy. He's only going to get 1 more matrix in this engage. Here comes the Drift Torp. It's going to hit the frigate. Oh, Kent eats it instead, and he makes a bad turn. Oh, you don't want to make a bad turn after you eat the Drift Torp. I mean, he saved CXS, but he died instead. It's generally the idea is you eat the Torp and then you immediately run away, and that didn't quite happen. Drift Torps landing on all sorts of people today. This now puts the red team in a very awkward position. They are missing both of their Guardians. They're missing all of those Scourges and all of that burst damage. Now, if Dirty can get his Insub, can get some other way of picking off the Guardians, then they can still come back, but they're right now down 700 farm about, and with the life regeneration of this Darkswarm, it's gonna be rough. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know that red team really has a great chance to come out of this. They would have to land a Drift Torp, which CXS doesn't have, or to really mow someone down with rockets, which is going to be hard with Defensive Matrix and Colossus. I mean, LSD did stall right there, and so there's always the risk that someone will stall, but even if someone stalls, can they take advantage of it? Do they have the DPS at this point to come out of it? I'm trying to think of a way that the red team can win here. There is a lot of mechanical here, a good blackout from I Love Pi could allow enough time for Loco to get in with an interception and maybe some interceptors to pick off Pernexus the Raven or Curtis the Carrier. Yeah, I'm thinking it would have to be Blackout at this point. That's really the only way they can get back into this game. Blackout or CXS getting a... The thing is that you notice, like right now, even though they're getting pushed back, blue team is all pretty much full. So I'm not sure that Torp would do it here. I almost think it'd be better off for CXS to stay up on the rockets at this point now that they're they're down so much, try to get that guaranteed sustained damage and help push back the enemy team, but it's going to be just so hard here. Oh my goodness, Dirty is going to take Scourges and Colossus. I mean, Isle of Pi can get some defensive matrices on, but the Drift Torp is a little bit too much drift in the Drift Torp. If that had landed, that would have been that just would have been it for the red team. I mean, it's already pretty over, but there's still just a little bit of hope in here to maybe find some way to pull out of this hole they're in. While this big fight is going on, of course, the entire right side is leaking altogether for both teams. Everyone is very focused on trying to get a kill or not kill, or avoid dying in the middle here. Scourges coming in, but Isle of Pi is getting lots of use out of that defensive matrix, and so yeah, defensive matrix right now with this double Guardian becomes very essential. You basically, oh, here comes the Scourge again, time to matrix, yep. Because now, it's not like you're going to kill them with lasers, so you pretty much... Oh, you don't want to run away from the Raven. CXS, you don't want to run away from the Raven. I mean, you might... If you run, you're going to eat the Scourges. If you run to the Raven, you'll eat some of the Scourges, but you might get Matrix for the rest of them. Okay, yeah. 1,000 farm differential now. Oh yeah, Tower won't kill any of the Scourges. I think there was some recent patches where at one point the towers were killing lots of small clump units all at once, but that has been removed, and now the red team tower goes down. This is looking like a very, very deep hole for the red team to be in. The opportunity to come out of the hole is going down very quickly, because Isle of Pi, he wants to get Blackout or something, but he pretty much has to first get perfect Matrix, because there's just so many Scourges. If he wants his team to not die, he has to be able to protect them, and that's the only way right now. Dirty's at 18 ents, but that's not going to be enough to pick someone off here. I don't think, anyway. He needs to be around 22, at least, to be able to really get them on to Nexus or someone. 1,300 farm differential. He can still make them a little nervous with the help of Loco. LSD is going to take some damage here. Nexus does have Matrix, but, yep, and then on top of that, Dark Swarm. Now Loco is at risk of overcommitting, and so has CXS. I don't know that the blue team will develop this, but that could have been the point where the game just ended right there. It was very close. If there had been a warp in from Curtis or Odessa. I mean, you just look at the farm, and CXS 300, Isle of Pi 300, and you just have, Curtis at 700 and OG Kush at 600. How do you come out of this with that amount of farm difference? Curtis is at 24 ins. He's well ahead of Dirty. They both have Plasma. They both have Warpin. Curtis also has 100 more energy, so he can maintain the surges even more. Oh, and Curtis misses the Vortex, though. I mean, but he can miss the Vortexes. He doesn't have to land a Vortex right now. The game is pretty much already in the bag. Landing the Vortex is just sort of like an extra sass to continue to demoralize the enemy team. Did my Vortex? No. No, I think his stall was unrelated. I mean, CXS can say that the stall was related, but I think the stall might have been unrelated. Although maybe it could be there was a bug with Vortex right now. I don't think there's been a change to Vortex, so I don't know why that would be the case. But you never know. Coach came here, see if we're gonna land another drift torp here somewhere. Wait, this is need to be on him so I can see that fusion is up. Is he gonna shoot into the base? Follow up on the Scourges? Yeah? I feel like I smell a torp coming on. I'm not sure if he's gonna have the sass to shoot into the base. Maybe he's gonna wait a little bit longer. You know, because if it's not a drifting torp, it's no fun, right? If you just hit them while they're in the base, well, that's disappointing. Then if you miss when you try to fusion into the base, it's just terrible. So I can see why he wouldn't right there, even though the ships were low enough that maybe he would pick someone off. But now that the second tower is down, he can do a drift torp as his team is diving into the base. And the base now won't really be killing the Scourges very effectively, or at all really. So the Colossus is going to be able to just walk in. There's a Vortex landed on the enemy carrier, which means that there's nothing to really fight off the Interceptors. So while all this is going down, we can even see. Oh, there's the Vortex fusion. Meanwhile, Curtis is floating 3,400 minerals. Yeah. GG. Loco is confused how anyone is enjoying this. Loco is sassy because he's lost 2 games in a row, probably. But he's lost 2 games in a row where he hasn't really been in a situation where anyone can see him. But really, his team has been losing because of the drift torps in both of these last 2 games. I mean, this was almost a mirror match, so I'm not sure that he can blame the compositions or the ships. I mean, you can't exactly blame balance when it's all the same ships versus all the same ships. Like, when that's the case, you can't say, oh, it's the ships that made it lose, unless you're saying Leviathan is super bad now. I mean, I don't think that it was the Colossus versus the Leviathan that really made this game. It was some ships eating drift torps and other ships not. Somehow Pernexus died. Well, GG.